Life often feels uncertain, and uncertainty brings fear. You might wonder, why is this happening to me? Why now? Why does my life seem stuck while others are moving forward? These questions weigh heavily on our hearts, and many people carry them silently, thinking they are alone in their struggles. But let me remind you, at every breath, every turn of your journey is already written by Allah with precision, mercy, and wisdom. Trusting the divine wisdom of Allah is one of the most powerful shifts you can make in your life, but also one of the hardest. As human beings, we are impatient by nature. We want to see results quickly, answers immediately, and solutions appear at the moment we ask for them. But life doesn't work that way, and Allah's plan certainly doesn't work according to our clocks. What we must realize is that His knowledge is infinite while ours is limited. What we think is good for us might actually harm us, and what we fear might destroy us may actually be the doorway to our greatest blessings. That is why surrendering to His wisdom is not weakness. It is the highest form of strength and intelligence. Imagine a child at the doctor's office, crying because the doctor is giving them an injection. The child sees pain, but the doctor sees protection. The child wants comfort, but the doctor wants health. To the child, the needle feels cruel. To the doctor, it is necessary love. This is the same relationship between us and our Creator. We cry when life injects us with pain. We complain when we don't get what we want. We feel hurt when our prayers seem unanswered. But Allah, with His complete wisdom, knows that what He is giving us now is not punishment, but rejection, but redirection, not cruelty, but care. Trusting this wisdom allows us to breathe even when life feels heavy. When you look at your life carefully, you will see countless examples of Allah's wisdom already at work. Think of a time you desperately wanted something, a job, a relationship, an opportunity, and it slipped away from your hands. At the time, you may have cried, begged, or even thought that life was unfair. But later, you realize that what you thought was a loss was actually a blessing. Maybe that job would have drained your soul. Maybe that relationship would have broken you beyond repair. Maybe that opportunity would have closed the door to something far greater. The wisdom was hidden in the moment, but revealed in time. This is why you must never doubt the plan. Today's confusion will become tomorrow's clarity. Trusting divine wisdom doesn't mean you stop working or stop dreaming. It means you do your part with effort, discipline, and faith, but then you surrender the results to Allah. It means you stop tying your happiness to outcomes and instead tie your heart to the belief that whatever outcome comes is the best one for you, even if you don't understand it yet. This surrender removes so much stress from your life. You no longer have to control everything because you realize you can't. You no longer have to fear the future because you know Allah already holds it. You no longer have to live in regret of the past because you know it was written with wisdom. One of the biggest reasons people fall into despair is because they compare their timing to someone else's. You see your friends getting married while you are still waiting. You see others getting promotions while you are still struggling. You see people traveling, buying homes, building lives while you feel stuck. And you start to think, why not me? Did Allah forget me? But this is where trust comes in. Just as seeds planted in the soil sprout at different times depending on their nature, so do human destinies unfold in unique timing. The rose does not envy the sunflower, and the sunflower does not complain about the oak tree. Each grows in its own season. In the same way, your life is unfolding in perfect divine timing. What seems like delay is actually preparation. Allah does not withhold without reason. He withholds to give you better, or to protect you, or to strengthen you before He elevates you. Another powerful part of divine wisdom is that sometimes blessings are disguised as hardships. We often think a blessing is only what feels good, like money, health, success, or love. But sometimes the real blessings are wrapped in struggle. Losing a job might push you toward building your own business. Falling ill might wake you up to value your health and time. Facing rejection might lead you toward discovering your true worth. Each trial has wisdom, and when you trust Allah's plan, you start seeing hardships not as punishments but as teachers. They refine you, prepare you, and polish you like a diamond under pressure. Trust also means believing that even when you can't see the road ahead, Allah can. Imagine driving a car at night. Your headlights only show a small distance ahead, but you keep driving because you trust the road continues. Life is the same. You can only see a small part of your journey, but Allah sees the whole map. And when you walk with that trust, you are no longer paralyzed by fear of the unknown. You know the planner of the unknown, and that is enough. The truth is, life will always have moments that test your trust. There will be times when nothing makes sense, when prayers feel unanswered, when doors seem closed. In those moments, the temptation is to panic, to lose faith, to question everything. But if you can anchor yourself in the belief that Allah's wisdom is flawless, you will rise above the storm. You will find peace even when the world around you is chaos. You will smile even when your heart aches, because you know this is not the end of your story. The author of your story never writes without purpose. So when you wake up each morning, remind yourself, today I trust the plan. When things don't go your way, whisper to your heart, there is wisdom here. When life feels overwhelming, close your eyes and say, Allah knows what I do not. This is not blind faith. It is the highest form of intelligence because it acknowledges your limits and leans on the limitless wisdom of your Creator. And one day, you will look back and realize that every no led to a better yes. Every delay prepared you for perfect timing. Every hardship carved strength into your soul. That is the beauty of trusting divine wisdom. It turns your worries into peace, and your fears into faith, and your struggles into stepping stones toward a destiny more beautiful than anything you could have planned for yourself. Patience in delays is one of the greatest challenges of life, because waiting is not something we naturally enjoy. We live in a world that glorifies speed, fast food, instant results, quick success, overnight fame. Our minds have been conditioned to believe that if something doesn't happen quickly, then maybe it will never happen at all. But life, as designed by Allah, does not work on our impatient clocks. What looks like a delay to us is often part of a bigger preparation, a divine wisdom that we cannot yet see. And if you can master patience in those moments of waiting, you will unlock peace, strength, and growth that no amount of rushing could ever give you. Think about the seed that goes into the soil. If you dig it up every single day to see if it has grown, you will never allow it to take root. Growth requires hidden time, silent development, unseen processes. In the same way, when you ask Allah for something, or when you desire change in your life, there is often a hidden stage where nothing seems to happen. You may feel like your prayers are going unanswered, like your hard work is not producing results, like your life is on pause while everyone else is moving forward. But what you don't realize is that beneath the surface, roots are forming. You are being strengthened, shaped, and made ready for what is to come. The delay is not denial, it is preparation. Many times in life, the delay is a shield. You might be asking for something you are not yet ready to handle. And if Allah gave it to you right now, it could overwhelm you or even harm you. Imagine giving a child the keys to a car. Would that be a blessing or a disaster? The timing matters as much as the gift itself. Allah knows the exact moment when you are ready to receive what you've been asking for. Until then, He delays not to punish, but to protect and prepare. When you truly believe this, patience becomes easier because you understand that the waiting itself is part of the blessing. It's also important to remember that delays build qualities in us that nothing else can. When life forces you to wait, you learn humility. You realize you are not in control of everything. You learn endurance, how to keep moving forward even when the reward is not yet visible. You learn faith, how to trust in Allah's unseen plan. These qualities are more valuable than the thing you are waiting for because they become part of who you are. The car you waited for, the job you longed for, the relationship you dreamed of, all of these may come and go. But the patience, faith, and strength you built while waiting will stay with you forever. Patience in delays also teaches you to value the blessing when it finally arrives. Imagine if everything you ever wanted came instantly. Would you truly appreciate it? Probably not. But when you wait, when you struggle, when you endure the silence, the moment the blessing arrives, it carries a sweetness you could never have felt otherwise. That sweetness comes from the journey, from the tears you shed, the prayers you whispered, the nights you thought you couldn't keep going but did. That is why people who have waited for years for something often cry tears of gratitude when it finally comes. The wait made the gift priceless. There is another layer of wisdom in delays. They redirect you. Sometimes you are moving towards something that looks perfect in your eyes, but Allah sees the flaws you cannot. He delays you so that your heart can detach, your perspective can shift, and eventually you can be guided towards something far better. In the moment, you may feel rejected, abandoned, or forgotten, but later you look back and realize that the delay saved you. The delay opened a door you didn't even know existed. The delay led you exactly where you needed to be. What felt like an obstacle was actually guidance. Of course, in the moment of waiting, patience feels like fire. You want answers, but you get silence. You want movement, but you feel stuck. You want change, but life seems the same. This is where faith must rise. Patience is not just sitting still and doing nothing. It is an active choice to trust, to keep doing good, to keep making effort, to keep believing that the unseen plan is unfolding. It is resisting the urge to despair, to give up, or to take shortcuts that might harm you. Patience is staying steady when your heart is restless. And when you practice this kind of patience, you will find that it brings a peace the world cannot give you. Even the greatest people in history faced delays. They went through years of hardship before relief came, and every delay strengthened them for the role they were destined to play. If they had received everything instantly, they would not have been shaped into leaders, teachers, or examples of faith. Their waiting periods were not wasted years, they were the years that made them who they were. In the same way, your waiting period is not wasted. It is preparing you for something greater than what you imagine. So the next time you feel like life is on pause, remind yourself this is not punishment, it is preparation. When you feel like your prayers are not being answered, tell yourself they are being answered, but in ways I cannot yet see. When you feel restless in the waiting, whisper to your heart, Allah's timing is always perfect. That shift in mindset will carry you through the toughest delays with hope instead of despair. And one day, when the waiting ends, you will look back and realize that every delay was placed with precision. Every pause was part of a plan. Every not yet was leading you toward a yes, more beautiful than you could have imagined. The waiting wasn't wasted. It was the very thing that made you ready to receive. That is the hidden mercy of delays. And if you can be patient in them, you will not only see the beauty of Allah's plan, you will live it with gratitude, strength, and peace. When life tests you, the first thought that usually enters your heart is, why me? You wonder why you are the one carrying this pain, why you are facing these obstacles, why nothing seems to be going smoothly while others seem to be enjoying their lives. But the truth is, tests are not signs of rejection or abandonment. They are signs of love. The very fact that you are being tested means you are worthy of growth, worthy of refinement, and worthy of a deeper connection with Allah. Every test is chosen with precision, measured in weight, and given only to those who can carry it. So, when hardship knocks on your door, don't see it as proof that you are forgotten. See it as proof that you are seen, noticed, and deeply loved. It is through tests that your faith becomes more than just words. Anyone can say they trust Allah when life is easy, but real trust is proven when life is hard. A test strips away illusions and forces you to confront what truly lives in your heart. Do you still believe when you don't understand? Do you still pray when the answers don't come right away? Do you still hold on when everything in you wants to let go? Tests refine your faith just as fire refines gold. Without the fire, gold remains hidden, covered in impurities. But after the fire, it shines with unmatched brilliance. In the same way, your soul shines brighter after being tested. Sometimes the test you are facing is not a punishment but a purification. It is removing from your heart what should not be there. Pride, arrogance, dependence on people, attachment to temporary things. It is teaching you humility and reminding you of your true source of strength. You may think you lost something precious, but perhaps you were being saved from something harmful. You may feel like doors closed against you, but maybe those doors were leading you away from your true path. The test is not to break you but to realign you, to bring you back to what truly matters. And in that realignment lies a mercy you will only recognize later. Tests are also hidden forms of elevation. Every tear you shed, every hardship you endure with patience, every moment you choose to hold on instead of giving up, it is all being written for you. You are being elevated in ways that cannot be measured in worldly success. You may not see the results now, but every trial is polishing your character, building your resilience, and writing your name among those who are honored for their perseverance. Sometimes what looks like suffering on earth is actually honor in the heavens. And when you stand before Allah, every difficulty will turn into light, every hardship into reward, every tear into a crown. Think of the people who inspire you most. Rarely are they those who lived a life of ease. They are usually those who endured unimaginable challenges yet rose above them with grace, faith, and dignity. Their strength came from their tests. Their stories became powerful not because life was easy, but because life was hard and they didn't let it destroy them. And you are no different. The tests you face today are shaping you into someone stronger than you can see right now. They are building within you a story of resilience that one day may inspire someone else to keep going. Tests are also intimate conversations with Allah. When you are at your lowest, when no one else understands, when even those closest to you cannot ease your pain, you find yourself turning to Him in ways you never did before. That closeness, that whisper in the night, that tear falling as you pray, that is love. Without the test, perhaps your heart would not have turned so sincerely. The test becomes a bridge connecting you to the one who never leaves. It strips away distractions and teaches you where true comfort lies. You may think you lost everything, but if through your test you found Allah, then in reality you gained everything. At times, tests also expose the reality of the world. They remind you that this life is not supposed to be perfect. If everything was flawless here, you might start believing that this world is your final home. But when pain enters, when loss strikes, when difficulty comes, it reminds you that paradise is not here. It awakens you to the temporary nature of everything around you. And this awakening is a mercy because it pushes your heart to long for the eternal home where no test will ever exist again. Without hardship, many hearts would fall asleep in the illusion of this world. With hardship, they wake up to the promise of eternity. Yes, tests hurt. They break you in ways you never imagined. But even in that breaking, there is beauty. Because when Allah breaks you, He does so only to rebuild you stronger. When He removes, He only does so to give better. When He tests, He only does so to elevate. If you can shift your perspective to see trials as signs of love, the weight becomes lighter. You no longer see yourself as a victim of circumstances, but as a beloved servant being carefully guided. So, the next time life tests you, don't rush to despair. Instead, tell yourself, this is a sign that Allah has not forgotten me. This is a sign that I am being shaped into someone greater. This is a sign that love is being shown in a form I may not yet understand. The tears will still fall, the nights will still feel heavy, but your heart will carry a different strength. The strength of knowing that you are not alone and that every test has a purpose. And one day, when you look back, you will see that the very trials you once prayed away were the very things that carried you to the most beautiful chapters of your life. What once felt like pain will be seen as protection. What once felt like loss will be seen as love. What once felt like a test will be seen as the greatest blessing. That is the reality of tests. They are not signs of rejection, but signs of deep, unshakable love. Trusting the unseen plan is one of the hardest, yet most beautiful parts of faith. Life often unfolds in ways that we cannot predict, and many times it doesn't make sense at all. You try, you plan, you hope, and then suddenly things take a turn you never expected. You wonder why doors close just when you thought you had found the right path, or why opportunities slip away just when you were about to reach them. It feels unfair, confusing, and sometimes deeply painful. But what we forget in those moments is that there is always a plan greater than our own. Every detour, every delay, and every disappointment is not random. They are carefully placed steps in a journey designed with perfect wisdom. Trusting the unseen plan means believing that what looks like a setback today may actually be setting you up for something far greater tomorrow. It's natural to feel anxious when things don't go according to your timeline. We humans crave control. We like to think we know what is best for us, when it should happen, and how it should look. But our knowledge is limited, while the knowledge of Allah is infinite. You see a moment, He sees eternity. You see a single thread, He sees the entire fabric. Trusting the unseen plan requires surrendering the illusion of control and admitting that sometimes not knowing is the greatest blessing. If you knew everything that was written ahead, your heart might not be able to carry it. So you are given what you need at the right time. Think about the times in your past when things didn't go your way. In that moment, you were upset, perhaps even broken. But years later, when you look back, you realize that what didn't happen for you actually saved you. That closed door led you to another opportunity. That failure taught you resilience. That delay gave you maturity and strength you didn't have before. At the time, you couldn't see the wisdom, but with distance you could. This is exactly how life works. Trusting the unseen plan means walking forward even when you don't understand, holding on even when the path feels uncertain, and believing that one day you will look back and realize every step made sense. The unseen plan is often hidden because faith cannot grow in the light of full knowledge. It grows in the darkness of uncertainty. When you don't see what's ahead, you are forced to lean not on your understanding, but on trust. This is where real faith is born, in those moments where you have no proof, no clarity, and yet you keep moving, you keep praying, you keep believing. And every time you choose trust over doubt, your soul strengthens. Trusting the unseen plan doesn't mean you stop trying or stop working. It means you put in your best effort and then surrender the outcome, knowing that whatever unfolds was always meant for you. Often what feels like delay is really protection. You might be eager to rush into something, but unseen dangers lie ahead. So your steps are slowed, your path is redirected, and your plans are altered. To you, it feels like rejection, but in reality, it is mercy. Perhaps the relationship that ended would have broken your heart beyond repair if it had continued. Perhaps the job you lost would have drained your spirit if you had stayed. Perhaps the dream that slipped away would have led you to a path of emptiness. You may not see these truths in the moment, but the unseen plan knows what you don't. Trusting it means believing that what leaves your life was never meant to stay, and what is truly yours will never pass you by. The unseen plan is also a reminder that your journey is unique. Stop comparing your timeline to others. Just because someone else reached success before you does not mean you are behind. Just because someone else seems to have it all doesn't mean your path is less meaningful. Every soul has a different test, a different pace, and a different story. Trusting the unseen plan means respecting your own journey and not rushing it to match someone else's. Sometimes the waiting period is the most powerful part of your story, because it's in waiting that you grow, that you learn patience, that you strengthen your connection with Allah, and that you become the person capable of receiving what's coming. There is also a hidden beauty in not knowing what comes next. Imagine if you could see all your future joys, successes, and victories, it would take away the sweetness of the surprise. And imagine if you could see all your future hardships and losses, you would never live peacefully today. The unseen plan protects you from both extremes. It hides the future so you can live in the present, and it gives you enough hope to keep moving forward. It invites you to trust, not because everything is clear, but because the one who is guiding you is perfect in wisdom. Yes, there will be moments when you feel lost, moments when you cry out for answers and receive only silence, moments when your patience wears thin. But in those very moments, remind yourself that silence is not absence, and delay is not denial. Sometimes the plan is unfolding quietly, behind the scenes, in ways you cannot yet perceive. And when it finally reveals itself, you will realize that every unanswered prayer, every detour, and every delay was leading you to exactly where you needed to be. So, if you are struggling to understand your life right now, take a deep breath. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to see the whole path. You only need to trust the next step, knowing that it is being guided with love and wisdom far beyond your comprehension. Trusting the unseen plan is not easy, but it is the key to inner peace. Because once you surrender to it, you no longer live in constant worry. You live in assurance, knowing that nothing in your life is wasted, nothing is random, and nothing is outside the mercy of Allah. And one day when the pieces finally come together, you will look back in awe and whisper to yourself, every single thing was worth it. Every delay, every hardship, every moment of confusion was part of a beautiful plan I couldn't see then, but I can see now. That is the power of trusting the unseen plan. It transforms uncertainty into peace, despair into hope, and setbacks into stepping stones toward a future more beautiful than you ever imagined. Patience is one of the most powerful qualities a human being can carry, yet it is also one of the hardest to practice. In a world that constantly teaches us to rush, to demand quick results, and to expect instant gratification, patience feels like an old, forgotten treasure. But when you pause and reflect, you realize that all great things in life are built on patience. A seed does not grow into a tree overnight. A river does not carve valleys in a day, and success does not arrive at the doorstep of those who cannot wait. In the same way, peace of mind does not come to those who live in restlessness. It comes to those who embrace patience. When life tests you with hardship, it is patience that allows your heart to remain calm instead of drowning in panic. Imagine going through a storm. You can either fight the rain, curse the thunder, and exhaust yourself resisting what you cannot control, or you can hold your ground, take shelter, and trust that the clouds will eventually pass. Patience is that shelter. It gives you the strength to endure the storm without letting it destroy you from within. It does not mean you enjoy the struggle, but it means you refuse to let the struggle steal your peace. People often confuse patience with weakness, as if being patient means doing nothing. But in truth, patience is strength. It is easy to give up when times are tough. It is easy to lash out in anger when things don't go your way. It is easy to abandon faith when you don't see immediate results. But it takes true strength to hold on, to keep believing, to keep praying, and to keep moving forward with dignity even when everything inside you screams to quit. Patience is not about waiting passively. It is about waiting with trust, with endurance, and with inner peace. Every person you admire who has achieved something great has gone through seasons of waiting. They have faced moments when nothing seemed to change, when their prayers felt unanswered, when progress seemed invisible. But they kept going patiently, step by step, until their time came. This is the lesson of patience. What is meant for you will not miss you, but you must give it time to unfold. The plan of Allah is not rushed. It is written with perfect timing, and your role is not to demand when it happens, but to prepare yourself with patience so you are ready when it does. Patience also protects you from regret. How many times have people made hasty decisions in anger, fear, or desperation only to look back and wish they had waited just a little longer? A person who lacks patience sells their peace for temporary relief, but a patient person guards their peace by trusting the process. When you remain patient, you allow situations to develop fully before reacting. You give space for wisdom to emerge. You stop yourself from burning bridges, from making reckless choices, and from hurting yourself or others. Patience acts as a shield that prevents you from being a prisoner of your emotions. One of the most beautiful fruits of patience is inner peace. When you learn to wait without frustration, when you accept that some things take time, and when you surrender the outcome to Allah, you begin to feel a deep calm inside. You no longer carry the heavy burden of needing to control everything. You no longer torment yourself with, "Why isn't it happening yet?" or "What if it never happens?" Instead, you replace those thoughts with certainty that everything will happen exactly when it is meant to. This certainty frees your heart, and a free heart is a peaceful heart. Life is full of tests that require patience, waiting for the right opportunity, enduring hardship, dealing with people who hurt you, or holding on through long periods of uncertainty. Each of these tests is like a mirror reflecting the state of your faith. Will you let impatience consume you, or will you stand firm and calm, knowing that Allah is with those who are patient? Every moment of patience is a moment of worship. Every time you bite your tongue instead of responding in anger, every time you hold on instead of giving up, every time you stay hopeful instead of falling into despair, you are growing stronger in faith. Patience does not just help you survive challenges, it transforms you. It shapes your character, it strengthens your soul, and it teaches you lessons that nothing else can. Without patience, you might reach your destination, but you would arrive restless, bitter, and empty. With patience, you arrive with peace, gratitude, and wisdom. Patience turns pain into strength, waiting into preparation, and hardship into growth. It is not just a tool for enduring life, it is a path to living life with peace. So if you feel restless right now, if you feel that your prayers are not being answered or that your efforts are not bringing results, remind yourself that patience is not a punishment. It is a blessing. It is teaching you to trust, to wait, and to surrender. It is teaching you to find peace not only in the outcome, but in the process itself. When you choose patience, you choose peace. You choose faith over fear. You choose strength over weakness. And you open the doors for beautiful outcomes that impatience would have closed. Remember, everything you are waiting for is already written for you. The only question is, will you wait for it with frustration and restlessness? Or will you wait for it with patience and peace? The choice is yours, and that choice will define the quality of your life. Hardship is something every soul encounters, and no one is spared from its weight. It comes in different forms: loss, disappointment, uncertainty, illness, failure, or loneliness. And when it arrives, it feels as though the light of life has been dimmed. Yet in the very depth of hardship, there is a gift, a seed of transformation that only reveals itself if you refuse to give up hope. Hope is the bridge that carries you from despair to strength, from sorrow to healing, and from confusion to clarity. Without hope, hardship breaks you. With hope, hardship builds you. Hope beyond hardship is not about denying the pain you feel. It is not about pretending that everything is easy or that struggles don't exist. It is about acknowledging the reality of your situation while refusing to let it define your destiny. When you hold on to hope, you are declaring that no matter how dark the night, the morning will come. No matter how heavy the burden, there is relief ahead. No matter how lost you feel, there is guidance waiting for you. Hope is not an escape from reality. It is the strength to face reality with courage. When you go through hardship, it's easy to believe that you've been abandoned or forgotten. Your prayers may feel like they rise into silence, your efforts may seem unnoticed, and your heart may whisper, "Why me?" But in those moments, it is hope that reminds you that every hardship carries within it a hidden purpose. You may not understand it now, but the very trial you are facing could be the key to a greater blessing ahead. History, both personal and collective, is filled with stories of people who rose from hardship to greatness, who discovered strength they never knew they had, and who transformed pain into wisdom. Their secret was not that they never suffered. It was that they never stopped hoping. Hope does not eliminate struggle, but it gives meaning to it. When you tell yourself that this challenge is shaping you, teaching you, and preparing you for something greater, you are no longer a victim of hardship. You are a student of it. Hardship becomes a teacher, and hope becomes the lesson that keeps you moving forward. Without hope, trials feel like punishment. With hope, trials feel like preparation. Without hope, pain feels meaningless. With hope, pain feels purposeful. Think about how many times in your life you faced a difficulty that you thought you couldn't endure. At that time, you may have cried, broken down, or even felt like your world was ending. But here you are, still standing. The strength you carry today is the result of hope you didn't even know you had back then. Hope carried you through, even if it was just a flicker, even if it was just a whisper that things would get better. That same hope is what you must cling to now in every season of hardship, because it will always lead you to relief. Hope also keeps your heart alive. When you lose hope, you stop dreaming, you stop trying, and you stop believing. Life without hope is a life of emptiness. But when you hold on to hope, even in your darkest moments, you find reasons to keep going. A small smile from a loved one, a moment of laughter, a quiet sunrise. These become reminders that life still has beauty, even in the midst of hardship. Hope allows you to see light in places you thought were only shadows. Spiritually, hope connects you to the promise that no difficulty is forever and no pain is wasted. Every struggle is known, every tear is seen, and every prayer is heard. Hope reminds you that there is mercy hidden in your trials, and that relief is always closer than you think. Often, when people are on the verge of giving up, they are also on the verge of a breakthrough. Hope is what prevents you from quitting just before everything changes. It is also important to remember that hope is contagious. When you carry hope in hardship, you not only uplift yourself, but also inspire others. Your resilience becomes a source of strength for those around you. Your courage to keep moving forward gives others permission to do the same. Hope beyond hardship is not just a gift for yourself. It becomes a light for those who are struggling in silence. By refusing to give up, you show them that they too can endure, that they too can overcome, and that no darkness lasts forever. The most powerful thing about hope is that it does not depend on circumstances. It depends on choice. You cannot always choose what happens to you, but you can choose how you respond. You can choose to believe that your story is not over, that better days are ahead, and that every struggle has a reason. This choice to hope, even when everything tells you not to, is what transforms hardship into a stepping stone toward growth. So when you are in the middle of hardship, don't let despair steal your future. Hold on to hope, even if it feels small, even if it feels fragile. Let it be the anchor that keeps you steady and the compass that guides you forward. Remind yourself that hardships are not the end, they are a chapter, and every chapter leads to the next. With patience, with trust, and with unwavering hope, you will discover that the end of one hardship is the beginning of a new strength, a new blessing, and a new peace you never thought possible. Hope beyond hardship is not just an idea. It is a lifeline. It is the quiet voice that whispers, keep going, because better is coming. And if you can hold on to that voice, if you can nurture it even in your darkest hours, you will walk out of hardship not broken, but renewed, not bitter, but wiser, not defeated, but victorious.